Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. And a heavyweight news mashup video today, starting with Shelly Finkel, who's told World Boxing News that he doesn't know what Anthony Joshua is talking about, that they're not interested in any offers right now. He says Deontay Wilder's focus and our focus is on Tyson Fury. At this moment, we are not focusing on anything else. And he's referring to Anthony Joshua talking about throwing Deontay Wilder a curveball that he wants to fight Deontay Wilder next in an undisputed fight. He said, "We had a meeting about that. It has great potential. I heard they have a third fight lined up towards the end of the year, but we have to throw a curveball in there. Something that gets Wilder's attention providing he wins, so that he thinks to himself, even though I can have a rematch clause, I'll see how I can manipulate my contract, get out of it, and fight for the undisputed championship." So Joshua talking an undisputed fight, even though he does have two mandatory challenges right now. And Wilder and Fury, their rematch on February the 22nd, and the loser can actually ask for a third fight. When that would be in 2020 or when it would be full stop is unclear, but they do have that in the contract, two-way rematch clause. So talk of undisputed certainly bubbling up, and Joshua wanting to get in the mix and throwing a curveball, but for the moment, Finkel and the Wilder camp in general not interested, and that is according to Shelly Finkel, Deontay Wilder's co-manager. Meanwhile, Eddie Hearn has reiterated that he would like his fighter Anthony Joshua to face his mandatory challenger Kubrat Pulev, if in fact that is the next challenger, in the United Kingdom. So Hearn has told Boxing Social that a number of stadiums could be considered. The Emirates, Spurs, London Olympic, Principality and Twickenham are all possibilities, and that the realistic dates are May 30th and June the 6th. And Kubrat Pulev's representatives are confident that they are closing in on a deal to face Joshua next. They have been given until the end of this month by the IBF to negotiate a deal. Kubrat Pulev, the IBF mandatory, Joshua has to face him or his WBO mandatory Oleksandr Uysk. That has also been called by the WBO. But John Wirt, who represents Kubrat Pulev, he's part of Epic Sports and Entertainment, which co-promotes the Bulgarian. He says to ESPN, "We are very close in my opinion, but the real issue is everyone's trying to vet offers from sites that are coming in from all over. The only continents not in play to my knowledge are Antarctica and Australia." And you may recall about a week or so ago, Kubrat Pulev teased that Turkey could potentially be the destination, but Joshua's promoter Eddie Hearn wants it to be back in the United Kingdom after Joshua faced opponents in Saudi Arabia and New York respectively. And if there is no deal reached by the end of the month, it could go to a purse bid, and that would seemingly be worth tens of millions of dollars, and it could literally go anywhere. Meanwhile, Anthony Joshua's other mandatory challenger, Oleksandr Uysk, doesn't want to sit idle if Kubrat Pulev is the next fight for Anthony Joshua. Uysk is the WBO mandatory, and he has been called to face Joshua next by the WBO. But seemingly they would need to organise some sort of step-aside arrangement for Uysk to go after Pulev. And his manager, Egis Klimas, has told Sky Sports he wants to keep Uysk active by fighting before facing Joshua. And he may get that wish, with Eddie Hearn telling IFL TV that a deal is pretty much in place for Uysk and Derek Chisora on March the 28th at the O2, and that Uysk is happy to do this and face Joshua after Pulev. And it looks like, from what Hearn is saying as well, that Filip Hrgović versus Martin Bakole, and there's been a bit of buzz online for that fight, could get made and be on that same undercard of Uysk and Chisora should it get made. And I got to say, Hrgović and Bakole, very good fight, a lot on the line for both there, very evenly matched, a very good fight for the heavyweight division. So here's hoping, and I did do a video on that the other day, so check it out. Eddie Hearn has also revealed to IFL TV that a deal is also virtually in place for a Dillian Whyte versus Alexander Povetkin fight in Manchester on April 25th or May 2nd. Now, this doesn't come as a huge shock, as Povetkin, along with Andy Ruiz Jr., were named as preferred opponents for Dillian Whyte's next fight. Originally had been talked about for April the 18th, possibly at the O2. But Eddie Hearn has also made an offer to Andy Ruiz Jr., two of them, in fact. The first one, a 7-figure offer was turned down, and he's made another offer, as Hearn describes it, a chunky offer for a potential Whyte fight in the US instead. But given that a deal is virtually in place for a Povetkin fight, I would say that it's probably more likely Povetkin is going to get made. There's no guarantees Andy Ruiz Jr. will be ready or agree to fight coming back in late April or early May. There's been talk he may come back in mid-year instead. But a Whyte and Povetkin fight, that's a pretty good one, and in terms of Dillian Whyte versus Oleksandr Povetkin, it could be a very fun fight. But obviously Whyte needs to whip himself into shape, because if he's not, he could be found out by Oleksandr Povetkin. He can't risk coming in out of shape as he did against Mariusz Wach. Meanwhile, some other Dillian Whyte related news. You may recall just a week or so ago, he claimed that Deontay Wilder was knocked out back in 2014 in sparring by Vladimir Klitschko in a training camp, which happened ahead of Klitschko's fight against Kubrat Pulev. So Whyte claimed he was knocked spark out and he was twitching on the ground. But Jonathan Banks, who's been a long-time Klitschko trainer, has disputed that, saying, "I'm the one who picked Wilder and all the other sparring partners to come." This is what he told the Boxing Voice. Did Wilder get knocked out cold in sparring by Vladimir? No, that's the truth. It didn't happen. Did he get dropped? Yes, he did. Meanwhile, Tyson Fury has announced on social media he's enlisted the services of Stitch Duran for his upcoming fight on February the 22nd against Deontay Wilder, Fury calling him the best cut man in the business. Meanwhile, Joseph Parker's advisor and manager David Higgins has disputed some of the statements by Mariusz Wach. Joseph Parker will be returning to the ring on February the 29th on the Mikey Garcia and Jesse Vargas undercard. Wach has claimed he will be Joseph Parker's opponent and has spoken to Polish media about it, saying he's accepted the deal but has yet to do the paperwork. But Higgins has told New Zealand media there's 4 names in the mix and he's one of them. Wach is by no means confirmed at this point in time. It would be wrong to assume it's Wach, but it would be also wrong to assume it isn't. So David Higgins obviously keeping his options open. Meanwhile, Oscar Rivas is in talks with Top Rank for a multi-fight deal to compete on ESPN, according to Mike Coppinger of The Athletic. Rivas is currently promoted by Yvonne Michelle, who also promotes Alidia Alvarez, a very good friend of Oscar Rivas, who's currently on a Top Rank deal. Rivas and Alvarez are both from Colombia and fight out of Canada. And it would make sense for Rivas to join Top Rank or another American-based sort of bigger promotional outfit, as he's outgrown sort of fighting in Canada. But there is something to be said for keeping options open at this point in the heavyweight division. Most people, or most top fighters right now, are aligned to one of the bigger promotional outfits. You know, PBC, DAZN, Top Rank in the United States, or Matchroom or Frank Warren in the United Kingdom. Rivas is one of the few fighters who has options, who can be brought in as a legitimate sort of top 15 guy in the heavyweight division to have a big fight against someone in any promotional stable. So there is something to be said for having some freedom, especially if you're a big name fighter in the division, and Rivas does qualify, in my view, as a legit top 15 opponent right now. And Hughie Fury has been added to a card at March 7th in Manchester, and this has been signalled for a while. He's actually been training with Martin Bakole, sparring him, opponent still TBA, and I'll have some more Hughie Fury news in the coming days. But that's it from me. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment, loud and often, hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.